Here's the beginning of my version of the case collator or case feeder for I'm going to use a Lee Loadmaster press. A couple things that I've seen a ton of YouTube videos for them. A couple things that I don't get any suggestions for is the bottom board that holds the case feeder up. I picked 35 degrees to cut this on an angle, and it's about 10 inches long. It's just 3/4 inch planking I used for it. These are 2 pieces like that, you see, and then they're going to go underneath. I'm holding the phone, so it's kind of hard. I'm going to go underneath like this, and obviously it's going to go up like that at 35 degrees. So, a couple things I want to start adding on. I'm using an old grill motor, which is geared down perfectly, and I'm going to use the skewer for my axle or shaft for the feeders. That right now I have a template out of cardboard, thank you United States Postal Service, and I have to get a good circle, which is like 10 and an 1/8 inch round, one which will fit inside the bucket, and that'll be made of some poly material like so. And then I think I'm going to take this board here and I'm going to either mount it here or I'm going to cut the bottom of the bucket out and replace it with this so I have a flat surface to work on both sides. So that's about as far as I'm at right now. So to cut the bucket, I took the rubber band, I wrapped it around the bucket. I marked it at 3 inches on this side, 10 over here, and I split the center. I marked it. And I took my Dremel, or my rigid cut saw, which I have a sanding belt on it now, with a cutter. I marked it with a tape, with a marker. Took the rubber band off, and I cut through around slowly. Then I just buffed it off with the sander on the edges lightly, and this is what I ended up with. So it's going to be just like so. We'll just complete it with the wood and everything. So it's like 10 inches there, 3 inches on this side, and 7 or so in the middle. Alright, so you gotta wonder, if you put your time, multiply it by an average of $35–40 an hour, what you usually make, hopefully, you're spending 3 days building this thing. Is it worth it? This is where I'm at. So I got the bottom shield in, got my hole, cut my bucket, obviously you've seen that before. I built my shroud, 35 degrees here, 10 inches here, with some angle iron, aluminum angle, I cut and drilled, piece of plywood left over from the kitchen, 1/4 inch ply, come on into the chute, which is going to be pretty bad filming, huh? Like so. Eventually. And my motor, which is a grill rotisserie motor. I got these 3 screws there, 1, 2, 3, that go through into the housing of the motor. and I just ran the power lines out. 2 powers and a ground. It had a ground, I probably won't use it, but I ran it out. Switch was bad. It was all rusted and whatnot, but I'm probably going to add one of these for power to computer plugs, which I got like 100 of them. Probably going to run it in the back here with my switches. Probably have one switch, turn it on and off, and I have variable control, which I got coming. That's in case it spins too fast. I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to spin just right. I had it spinning, and it looked good, but in case I want to regulate it a little bit, that way I got the option. And now, I mean, I got a bandsaw, I got a table saw, I got a miter saw, I got a sanding belt. I got all kinds of crap that went into this little operation here. It's more work than everybody really tends to believe it is. So, if you're going to do it, you're going to be prepared. But it's cheap. So far I got, I don't know, $10 into it. And if I could have found a red bucket, I would have, because I'm going to put it on my Lee Loadmaster setup over here. So, alright, well that's the update. Let's see how it goes. Thanks for watching. So I got my chute built from a container I got from my wife, which is nail polish remover. And that thing worked perfect. I just cut the end off it and put it up under the lip of the bucket. You know, cut it with a razor blade. Nice. Use this conduit clamp to hold it up and in tight. And I just filed off the ribs for the lid and attached a 1/2-inch pipe coupling. I got 1/2-inch pipe, which is perfect. This 1/2-inch pipe fits the shell tube on the Lee Loadmaster right inside there. Because it's going to go like this when you pull the handle each round. This thing's going to have to run in there. Because with the progressive, the Loadmaster and the 1000, the shell carrier rises up and down. So I have to line it up and then it'll catch. And next thing I'm going to have is 2 sensors right here. I'll cut notches in this pipe. This pipe's just temporary for now. So the shell casings will come down and hit the LED or the infrared sensors, which will stop the motor. And then I'll have to put another one down the bottom so that when it fills up, it'll shut off, and then when it goes down to the shell carrier, it'll turn on again. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope this thing comes together and I can make a decent video. So for the shell plate carrier, I cut little pieces of this plexiglass out like this too, and 1 inch by 3 inches long, and to probably take some super glue and just sit them right on there so the cases will move around and not get just sitting there. You gotta lift them up and drop them into the chutes. So I had it running good. And what I do with my grill motor I got in there for my off my barbecue grill, my rotisserie. I told you I was going to use my rotisserie rod here, which I cut a piece like so. It goes right down, sets in that, cut a little square in the shell plate, just like that. This thing dropped right right in. Boom. Plug it in. If I find it the right way. Check that. I got a shelf. Notice it's going face forward now. It doesn't matter which way it's going to go because the hole, the drop hole, is just narrow enough that it won't fall in the wrong way. And when it's like that, it's bottom heavy, so it just drops right down the chute. So every time they're going to be bottom down. That's what you need, just like that. There's shell plate carrier with the riders or inserts or whatever you're going to call them. These little doodads. Super glue. Dry it up. Boom. One thing I did add to the back of it is just on the back board I put a couple slots with indents in it to hold a couple hex-headed bolts so they will slide this way and that. This is the inside. So on the outside they'll stick out. That's going to mount this bracket on it. This bracket will go on it so I can run it, the whole unit, up and down and side to side, so I can align it with the press. Another thing I did on the back of the frame that holds the case feeder, I drilled 2 slots into the back of it so I could put hex head bolts in there, and that's where this panel is going to go on top of that to keep the bolts from popping. And on this side I have the bar that's going to be able to loosen it up and slide it left to right and up and down by adjusting the bottom holes on the top on the bar that's going to be at the base. And then I could just loosen these up to adjust them. This is the control panel that I made. To run the sensors, proximity sensors that are going to catch the bullet feeders. I got a diagram of this that I could put on as a picture file, I guess. This is just one module for the top sensor and the bottom sensor. It's just a board to put it together, light to know it's on, and then our 12 volt power supply that I got. Have an old full phone charger, just pull it out there, put it on the board, and then put this together. Obviously you got the motor, and this is my power. Takes a regular computer cord, got the switch on it, fuse to a 12 volt relay. So the switches will control the relay, which will give .120 volts to the power, because everything's running off 12 volts. and this is just a panel to connect some wires. And this is a switch to put on sensor mode, and then just run the motor on and then off. So that's my front panel, or I mean the back panel. Front panel is where the drops are going to be, drop tube, and then we're getting there. So I think that's about it. This here was a little tricky, but not really necessary to do all this. Just put an on-off switch. But I will update you. Thanks for watching. Building my shell plate for 9, 380, probably 40 millimeter, definitely 357, 38 special. Basically I took my measurement from here to here, which ended up being 4.8 inches. And I just measure from where the drill bit goes in to here, and I drill the hole in this wood pad that I built and put a nail through it so it spins. So all I gotta do is line up my spots with my drill bit, my Forester 1/2 inch. Go 1/3 larger than the caliber that you're shooting. Seems to be the number. And then I ended up with 32 inches around, so that's 32 holes. And the 45 caliber is like 28 holes. And I'm dividing it up into 4 sections of 7 each. So I'll have 28, and then I'll put my my kicker blocks in it. So that's that, and then we'll see how that goes. Alright, finish it up. Now I just kind of cut the slots off to open it up, and then inside goes into that. Got the sensors all set up, got my bar set up, got my mounting bar drilled, tap that, and then I'll mount onto that. We'll be ready to go. We'll drill the 45. I got the 223 done. I could do a 308, but I doubt I'll get that. I'm not going to do 308s in a progressive. So the 2 shell plates should cover everything. Really should. If anything, if I use this for 38s, which I will, I'll have to put pads on the bottom so it'll lift it up a little bit, because that shell is going to be way too long. Like, see, that's 223, but say I'll have to put a little pads underneath it so it'll run a little bit higher, because this is for 38. I mean 9 mil. That's perfect. All right, I put this on the bandsaw. So I ended up cutting them. Sorry about the video. Really mess like that. I'll probably just make some lines on here. I got some guides to go by. All right, man. Thanks for watching again. All right, finished the shell plate for the 9s, 380s, 38 specials, 40 cal. So, set me up over here. One thing I had to do is I had my opening here is great for the 223 556 because they just go and they drop in. But there's a little lip you probably can't see right in here that when the nines go around, they get stuck this way. They pile up. Probably not going to happen with the 45s. Don't know. Anyway, a piece of metal. Bent it. This is just quick. See how it works. Sits in there to stop that lip. Throw it in there. Find my. Put it in. Put it on. Around. Working beautiful. The weight of the bottom of the case keeps them from dropping in bottom first, so they're upright. I made my little shell box like I have here on my 223. So I got these. They're made up out of the same PVC material. Probably leave a space here. So I got row of 7, row of 7, row of 7, etc. And these are going to go like so. That'll help shake them up a bit, move them around, really keep them straight. So I think that should work out really good. This is what I did with my back here. I got my brace up so I can move it. Once I get it on the press, if I had to move it a little bit forward or back away from the press, I got a little bit of wiggle room. Mount this right close where I need it. Then I got the height adjustment with these. I drilled a series of holes. Series of holes in here. And I just got some thumb screws, tighten them in there. So I got up and down. So it seems to be coming along quite well. Alright, shell plate. Just super glue. This PVC stuff is awesome. Super glue. It was drying like a couple minutes, but I left it overnight. Go, man. That'll help a lot. Good deal. Alright, quick review. Backside for the bracket, power, on-off switch, sensor light. Right now the sensors are off, lights off, switch is on, just on, and you see it's turning. There's no shell plate in there right now, it's turning. Switch is off. Turn on. Once the shell drops, turns it on, hits the bottom sensor. Let's see how. Let's get this straight. unit runs. You turn it on instantly. It's running, so a shell drops, hits the top sensor. We fall down, sit in front of the bottom sensor. It's on a 30-second timer. 10 seconds, it'll keep running. Drop them in the tube. The top tube senses no shell. Bottom tube does. So there's shells in the tube, so it stays off. Once I start running the progressive and the shells start dropping, I get down to the bottom shell. The shell's removed. Starts spinning. A shell drops past, hits the timer again, piles up in front of the bottom sensor, continues the cycle for 30 seconds. Shells are dropping by. If you get lucky and one comes by here, it'll hit it again, continue to turn. Shells are fooled up, shuts down. Shells drop, drop. It's not overloading, it's empty. I mean, it's shut off. The tube's full. Bottom sensor senses shells. Once the bottom sensor senses no more shells, relays for 5 seconds, starts turning on. Top sensor hits a shell, gives another 30 seconds. Bottom sensor looks at the shells, keeps it running for another 10, shuts her down. Little added features. Every time that this will have a timer, each time that light's on, I know I'm running off the sensors. The sensors are sensing no shells, and it's running. Once the timers commit, to a shell, which there's no shells, shuts her down. Fucking A. Trial. Sensors aren't set up properly yet. This one has to be right in the window there. Eventually, this sensor will be the one down. This one will shut it off. Switch it over. And the timer. And once the sensor's on, that timer will start kicking on. There it goes. And once it senses something here, it'll leave it shut off. You just got to move the tube up.